drinks. Okay. So yesterday was kind of heavy. It was pretty intense. Kind of trying to. I'm not sure if this is cooling things down. Probably not. Is this cooling things down? Probably no. I don't know why this is coming up, but if they have enough power to zap out, to zap Maui into the next world, I guess put in some kind of future homes there, or whatever it is, or just to get rid of the riffraff. Um, Whatever, however you want to look at it. The cloning energy is always going to be a mystery. It's not always going to be easy to get a vibe on it because it's one thing. It's part of the shadow government energies. It's like it's done astrally too. It's obviously galactically. It has to be for it to work out. I think it's been going on forever, for like thousands of years. We're just figuring this out because we have the internet and everything. I think it's been going on forever. Aliens have been here forever. So how hard is it for them to clone us? Not very hard at all. So it's just now more of our people are doing. Not to say our people weren't doing in the past either. They just had technology that we're just not aware of. So yeah, it can get weird when you look at the past. It's like, was technology always here in some form? Probably. That's when you look really crazy. So, in some form, obviously secretly or however you want to look at it. But for cloning, it's interesting because that's a tough one to tap into also because they don't want you to get into their business. As I was typing out the title for this, I was sneezing like crazy. It's like, gee, I wonder why. Somebody is not happy, but they also it's like they paint out the remnants of the clone energy. Like they put in the clone, but they kind of clear the energy around it to make it look like it's synthetic or non-traceable. This is a normal person, even when you feel like there's something not right here, or the senses are kind of off. So it's never going to make, none of this is going to make a whole lot of sense. Dave Chappelle's that's always the best one I go to. I can't think of what was it. I think Britney Spears went through a good deal of that. There's another, obviously there's a bunch of them. Jamie Foxx? So something happened with Henry. So I don't know if he's still white. He was white for a while. I don't know if he's still white. So, but it's a spirit war. So they're not going to make this easy for us to figure out. Yeah, you can do speculation. You can't prove it, but it's like, Drake comes to mind. I don't know who that is. It's a musician of some. God, jeez, just gets better and better. And some clones are just like the original. They can't really tell, but there's some kind of difference in their demeanor. It can be a slight change. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of change. So Dave Chappelle's like he used to be funny, and now he's Dave Chappelle. That's not really funny at all. He's just a vessel. He's just a brand at this point. So obviously, the fans will probably see something different or whatever it might be. It's kind of creepy when you think about it. And politicians, I'm not going to go through all the politicians, but they're obviously, a lot of them are galactic beings and whatever it might be. Like something like the Men in Black, where it's just like an alien being in a human suit. So is that really all that surprising? So yeah, Washington's such a odd energy. Yeah, it's not exactly the safest place to be either when you think about it. Not when you're intuitively connecting to it. It's like sometimes better just to stay away from it, at least physically, at least. So going to Clone War frequencies and see if there's anything new there. It just feels like it is brought up. There might not be anything new to be covered, really. But like I said, if they can, they did this to Paradise, California. They blasted that place with a laser. Paradise, California is now gone. I can bring that up here. 'Cause imagine a lot of people are not, I don't remember, or didn't pay attention to it, or just knew that there was fires going on there, and that's about it. Not realizing it went through the same situation as Maui. Even when we had Fort Myers, we got hit. Of course, we didn't get hit with fire, but still, that was kind of suspect also. So the damage we went through. So we went through hurricane damage, probably just as bad or maybe worse. But the casualties, we didn't have the whole place scorched either. So, yeah. And astral government energies, just, there's a whole nother, probably like an episode out of Rick and Morty. There's a little bit of everything out there to govern our reality. It's just not going to be, it's not the easiest thing to tap into. Want us in their business. Even the good guys don't want us to know, but I don't know, it just came to mind. So we'll just say whatever needs to be said there, whatever might be there. Because anyway, I mean, you can say it's kind of a government, how our timelines work and everything, how we agree to this. So you can say there's kind of like an astral agreement, government, for all of this to work the way it is. And downsizing, it's basically like miniature people. It's a movie, but is it? I think I've done a channeling on this in the past, but kind of revisiting where you can be zapped and turned into a little person, like a little society. And is that real here somewhere in some kind of government facility somewhere? Imagine one of those people escaped and just all of a sudden you see this little person walking around. I'm not sure how that works exactly. That might be more of a fourth dimensional situation, but it could be physical. I'm not sure how that's going, but they definitely do experiments here with human DNA and animal DNA. So we just don't see it here physically. Yeah, it's all underground. So think like that sounds out there like a crazy person, but not really. Well, they made a movie about downsizing. The movie wasn't very good either. It was terrible. But it's like it took something, an interesting concept, and it just made it so boring. It's like about situations I don't care about at all. So, but at least they're talking about it. And so there's probably some truth to it. It could be underground. For sure. Imagine that you're just, your normal size, you go into a room and there's like a wolf people society, just like, whoa, God, jeez. So, and the movie is pretty detailed, and people get downloads of this stuff, and then the astral, gods allow it to be told, for us to be aware of it. So, anyway. Yeah, it's never going to make a whole lot of sense. You can't know everything. As many times people want to know everything. Well, you can, but then it can end up, in the grave if you know too much. So I'm going to come in for sessions. I have a scheduler. We have a shop here. Webinar, social network, behind the scenes, and archive. Oh yeah, so cloning. So I got the thumbnail for this. And something interesting found. Wasn't looking for it. Not that say it's anything too revealing. I'll put you into a coffin. So the image of this had this for the thumbnail had advanced cell technology. So it was protests. I was outside of it, and even on the thumbnail, it has a Nazi symbol on it for this video. I don't have it here, but I'm not sure if it doesn't really tell you anything here. It's closed, obviously. But these are terms they can, they're worth looking up. But either way, they're accused of cloning. I don't know if it has that here. Let's see. I don't know if it. Yeah, interesting. Yep. So here's oh, it's old. Yeah, it's just about cloning here. And it's this facility that's now closed. So either way, there's some links to it. Yeah, this place. Yeah, it's here somewhere, but either way, obviously it all went underground. Let's see. Also know that it took more than 400 implanted embryos to produce 30 cloned cows. Didn't know about that. And this is back in 2001, but they're allowing us to know. So I imagine, yeah, it's all underground now. So I think cloning a person's not that difficult anymore, from what I can get, from what I can feel, from at least for us to do it. Oh yeah, I'm not done with that yet. Let's go back there somewhere. Yeah, that's a new place because usually everything's been like clonate and all that. All that's been, you know, downsizing. You know, the little people world. I'm not talking about short people. I'm talking about miniature people. Jeez. I mean, it's a quite a detailed concept, though. It's very detailed, and the movie is horrible. Just a travesty. It's so boring. It's like it's on, but who cares? But it's such a it has so many fascinating tidbits. It could have made it real interesting. But what would be? I think it failed when it came out too. But anyway, that's neat. So what's happened to some of those energies? I don't know. I'm not sure if it matters. But the cloning energy, yeah, it's just, yeah, like I said, it's a spirit war. So it's like I said, if they're going to zap Maui and Paradise, California, and I mean, Paradise, California is off the map now. It's gone. Of course, was it? Somebody said there's a bunch of tall whites there at one time. It's like, of course you want to see that after you get zapped. You can say anything it was there. There's no proof of it. It's not like it's showing any proof. So anyway, like whatever. You have to have some galactic spin to it, right? Somebody go who said that, but well, the person that said that is probably currently going insane. So more power to him on that one. That's what happens when you sell yourself out. So all right, going to the cloning energies. We'll just do what we can because obviously, unless they have some kind of like, you know, they're not going to have some kind of disclosure physically, not anytime soon. Even Maui, they're covering that up. They're just saying it's like some kind of, they just blame the electrical company. That's what they did with California too. They just blamed the P&G or whatever they're called in California. Just blamed them, sued them, and it was all a done deal. Who cares? So now it's in the background, and most people don't know anything about it. So yeah, so bizarre times. So all right, we'll go into it. So all right, blessings. Greeks. This is you said the cloning consciousness. Yes, of course, your government's very much involved with it. There's a cloning war, yes, behind the scenes. Uh, Obviously, beyond what your public government knows anything about it, because some of those people get switched out quite often to deliver an agenda. Now, it does might sound like science fiction, but you are driving around in cars. You have satellites in the skies, lasers coming down, and so on. So, you know, science fiction is now becoming more science fact. And they're not going to, yeah, this is more, they're not going to just disclose something like this. No, because this is how they play the game. This is one of their pieces. Obviously, it goes much deeper than this. But the cloning just makes sure that the agenda goes as they want it to. But then again, you have one government that does one thing and another one that counters it, tries to stop it. So or they're aware that it's a clone agenda or whatever it might be. They might not know it's a full clone agenda either, but they just know, to stop the agenda or whatever it might be. And a lot of this is allowed to happen for humanity to awaken. Because, when you talk about clones, that's a little bit heavy, just like the alien subject matter. You don't have any government hearings about cloning, which is kind of strange when you think about it. It was back in the 90s, it was very controversial, talked about, and then now it's quiet. It's similar to like the moon landing. You have a moon landing that is questionable. There is truth to it, but obviously now it blacked itself out. Now there's some reason not going to the moon anymore. And same thing with cloning in the 90s. That's becomes a Dolly the sheep, and all of a sudden it's blacked out, it's gone. Just like that. And if you talk about it, you're seen as a crazy person. So it's just that it became too, alive, you can say. Obviously, they've been doing human cloning in secret for a very long time, at least on your public timeline, or you can go further than that. But we'll just say in your recent times, 1950s, the Nazis played some role in it, but they didn't have really a whole lot of time with that during their time. But obviously, after the war, they had plenty of time to create their dolls, their creations. That's like the modern masterpiece that you'll probably never hear about. But then you can speculate on it, and it doesn't mean that you're completely wrong. It's just hard to get an accurate reading on it because obviously they don't want you to mess with it. And if you are accurate, there's no way to prove it. But if you have your suspicions, it's there for a reason. It's just, yes, they do. They cover up the energy of it. They don't want you going through their stuff, and there's no reason for it. And sometimes protecting you also. Sometimes the less you know, the better. But if you suspect it, if it comes to mind, let's put it this way: if you something news or anything, or a politician, or who knows, it might just come up automatically. And those that ignore the news and all that, that's fine. But some do live in ignorance too. Sometimes it's good to have an idea of how the play is being staged, and make sure you don't get played either. That's the other thing. Can you make sure that you're not getting hustled? Such as the Maui situation, where they are playing a narrative. It's very dangerous, actually, what they're doing there. And those that are aware of what's going on in Maui obviously feel very enraged, especially when you live there. And there's nothing here makes any sense. Same thing as California. But Maui is a little bit more, hopefully, more talkative about the situation. Not that people will believe it, but yes, it might seem as a conspiracy theory, and not that those that are running this reality care about that, because they know they own the mainstream mind, as you know. But yeah, celebrities are easy to copy. They already have an idea of what kind of celebrity they want, like a Britney Spears, for example. They just find a soul that will agree to it. And and so on, because they know, they have an idea of what can program society, what's the best design. They're just getting a soul to agree to it. And they do whatever they want with the body. This is like Will Smith. This is Greece. This is your astral government or governing body of your planet. Obviously, there's only so much you can go into. Many of you have been there. Yes, you look like the halls of paradise. It can look like that. Doesn't mean it's always paradise. But there are elite beings that rule this earth, and they don't really want to talk to anybody. But if you want to come into this world, it's kind of like a passport. But you're an energy being, and you agree upon the human, you go into the turnstiles, kind of like that, to go into the preparation for your incarnation. So there's an elite system that runs this planet that does not have humans at their best interests. A lot of them don't care about humans really. They absolutely are sick of it. But obviously, you have so many souls here that are trapped here. That's why many of you come here. That's not the only reason. That's one of the reasons. It's a galactic war that many of you are. They feel like, well, some souls, as you know, get too ambitious. They feel like they can fix everything. They get here, they can't fix anything. They can't figure themselves out. And you'd be surprised how many think they can jump into this world and just save it. And they find out they're trying to keep their mentality from themselves going crazy. So it's just that this place is a trickster planet. And your every effort here is helping. Every little bit. It just shows the beings here doing this push all the pressure onto it to keep it the way it is. They just like it the way it is. And they don't, they want to show they're more powerful. They know they're not always powerful, but they know they have this, society is here under mind control, maybe not complete mind control, but they know they're winning at least. Let's put it that way. And many want to know exactly who's doing this, and they're not always going to reveal it. Like calling themselves Anunnaki or some kind of cliche name. No. The beings that are doing this would rather just keep their names off. So that doesn't mean some of you can't tap into it, but obviously there might be some repercussions to it. So obviously, it's just that this world is, there's some Orion influence here to keep it locked down. Well, because the souls that are lost here, they can play them like a video. It's like they can take their energy. They can do whatever they want with them, as you can see. It's fun. They can put some kind of narrative out there. People believe it. It's easy. This is an easy game for those that are manipulating. And for those of you that are coming here, obviously it's not so easy to put out a different deck of cards, a different way of looking at things. There's a lot of backlash there. So the beings that are doing this to this world feel like they have it all figured out. Yes, very arrogant. And you can say their arrogance is kind of justified because it is working. For now, at least. Greetings to the consciousness of the small people or the miniaturized people. That might be a better word for it without insulting anybody. But there are little, beings, and there's societies of them. But your world to experiment with that, yes. Of course, some of you are connected to alien races that are just very small. Some are just so small, like a microscope to see them. So this is nothing new. But as for government experiments, there's some version of that here, yes. We're not saying you need to tap too deeply into it. In some ways, it has some humor connected to it, but it kind of gives you an idea of your planet. Like, you feel like you're at a normal size, 6 feet tall people, 5 feet, and so on. But there are other entities that are much larger than this watching over your world. So your world feels like it's a small little speck, as some of you can see that through the universe perspective. So is it all that surprising? So it's another way of looking at unlocking your reality. So if you're just like the miniature people of this planet and this world, who are the big ones that are out there? That it goes on and on. It continues. It's nonstop. It's just the beings here that are of a positive level, yes, are here to help you figure it out, but not too much. I mean, you have to figure things out on your own. It's like you have to ask the right questions, and not everybody's doing that. And if you do, sometimes you don't get the answer, or it's not time for it, or whatever it might be. which is discouraging. It's like, you're on the right track to figure this out. Well, we can't figure everything out. There's no need for it. But at least for you to break free of the timelines. But there are many agreements here, and that's probably the most frustrating part of soul agreements. And it's not always going to explain itself why. Not on a physical level. It's just it's just like going to school. It's like you have 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, college. It's like, a lot of people are there and they don't know why they're there either. It's kind of just run its course and get to the next level. So you're doing that here also. But it's through your, it's not like a grade school type of thing though. And you do work on your timeline and you decide if you did it right or not. Either way, you pass or fail, you still move on to the next one. Unless you really don't want to evolve at all, you can hold yourself back, which many do.